Welcome, my friends. I'd like to present a Tennessee tall tale about a humble blacksmith. Not exactly the smartest fella, but a simple fellow. So simple that they say they could tap it as a resource and drain it out of him. But the tale about a blacksmith who really wanted to be able to dream. And so, without further ado, I'm going to present Tall Tale, A Real Hunk of Dreaming. Everybody said Bull Runnels had ought to be bored for the simples. First time they said it, he was still just a young'un, about 14-year old, but even then as big as a man. People got to noticing how he clumb to the top of every tall tree he'd come around, would sit up there for minutes at a time, craning his neck in all directions. "What on earth are you doing, boy?" they asked. "Looking at the weather," said he. "You can see a heap more of it up here." So they shaking their heads and then start to say, "That Runnels boy ought to be bored for the simples." Looked like the boy just never did aim to stop growing. Why, when he was 18, he was easy the biggest man in town. He could tote a bigger load and do more downright back-breaking work than any two Negroes in the county. His real name was Willie. But who's going to call a big, strapping, 6'4", 200-pounder a name like Willie? No, it was Bull Runnels. Had to be a bull, that's all. Ben Canada was the blacksmith, and he kept sprying his eyes after Bull Runnels. "Look at them shoulders," says he. "Look at them arm muscles, working like a mess of eels. He'll make a master blacksmith, that boy." So Ben Canada taken Bull Runnels on to be his helper and started training him. Nobody ever saw his beat when he got started. He made that old anvil ring till it shaken every window in town and sounded like a steeple full of big iron bells. When he got busy bending horseshoes or hammering out wagon springs or axles, the inside of the blacksmith shop looked like hell on a busy day. Flames shooting every which way and sparks flying like red hot sleet. Bull was too busy now to climb trees and look at the weather. When he wasn't hammering hot iron, he was sleeping or sitting on his heels out behind Ben Canada's shop in the chicken yard listening to the hens. "I got a theory," he says. "It's about chickens. Now, chickens is clever if you get to know them good. I figure they can talk like anybody else, only we can't make it out. I got a theory. If I just use around the coop a listening long enough, I'll get to where I can understand them. Now that would be a real novelty." So people said they know Bull Runnels had ought to be bored for the simples. Bull never could get the hang of chicken talk, so he give it up, and pretty soon something else was working on his mind. "I hear folks all the time talking about dreaming," says he, "but me now, I ain't never had one of them things. Don't even know what one feels like. Just close my eyes and pop, I'm a goner. Next thing I know, it's time to go to work again. Nothing happens but plain nothing in between. Now I sure would like to have one of them things just once, just so I could say I had it." Ben Canada says, "Shucks, Bull, dreams don't amount to so much. Some's good, some's bad, but mostly they're bad. Was always two or three men hanging around the shop to watch Bull work, and somebody'd say, 'Ah, shoot, Ben, you don't know that ain't so. Don't listen to him, Bull.' Bull would lay his hammer down and push the long hair out of his eyes and say, 'Now looky here, boys. Don't you go short talking Mr. Ben like that. I'll tromp somebody's breeches if you don't watch out now.' 'Calm down there, Bull,' they'd say, ready to cut and run if the mean streak hit him. We don't mean no harm. We was aiming to say there are a lot of dreams that's gay to have. Says which? Bull would get it all interested. Well, they tell him, some's eating dreams is first rate. Maybe you dream all night you're eating. Maybe it's spare ribs and beaten biscuit, buttermilk and gravy and peach dumplings. How about chitlins now? Chitlins too. Just anything. You eat all night and never get full. A big fat Negro always ready to heap the grub on your plate. Ice cream and pie and striped candy. The more you eat, the more they feed you. And when you're dreaming, Bull would sit down and put his head in his hands. Oh, me! I sure wish I could have a dream now. I sure do now. That ain't all, neither, they'd say. You'll dream about pretty gals, too. Sure enough, Bull says. He was awful timid around the ladies, Bull was. All he could do was stand and blush and grin around them. So now he looked sly and says, what kind of gal dreams? Oh, they told him, you know, all the pretty gals love you and you hug them and bust them good. Stuff like that. Woo-wee, says Bull, jumping up and grabbing a hot bar of iron out of the charcoal furnace and banging it with his hammer till the anvil danced a jig. I sure would like to have one of them gal dreams now. Slim Loggins, Lawyer Loggins, his boy Slim, was the ringleader when it come to telling Bull about dreaming. He had a gift for it. He could tell a dream to where it sounded better than heaven's rest to a damned soul. Yes, Bull, he say, everything you ever wanted to do, don't matter what it is, you do it when you dream. The whole world's yours. All you have to do is reach out and grab it. Say you dream of money. Why, man, you can find it in piles. Yes, sir, big stacks of bright, shiny dollars. You can rake it in, shovel it in your wagon, and haul it away. Can you keep the money? Says Bull. Sure you can. Oh, me, moans Bull. And I can't dream nohow at all. Oh, me. Everybody in town knew how hard Bull Runnels was trying to dream. Ben Canada's old woman told about it. Bull lived in Canada's back room, and they heard him at it. With him a grunting and a groaning and doing around like he does, says old Mrs. Canada. We don't get any rest hardly. Me and Ben, first he bounces up and down till it sounds like the bed's going to fall to pieces. Then he quiets down some, and just about the time we're dropping off, he lets out a snort and says, "Stay and fetch it, start a going, dreams." And he starts a mumbling and saying, oh me, and bouncing and blowing till we think he ain't never liable to quit. It goes on and on like that. All of a sudden, along about midnight, he bubbles 2 or 3 times and starts snoring peaceful as a baby. Me and Ben don't get a wink till then, neither. Slim Loggins tells Bull, trouble is, you got too good digestion. If you ate nails, they wouldn't bother you. I never ate no nails that I know of, Bull says. What I mean, Slim tells him, is that you ought to eat something that will give you your stomach fits. That's the best way to have a dream. Bull would scratch an ear and ask, what ought I to eat then? I eat everything a going now, but I don't never have no dreams. Well, says Slim, why don't you eat some pig knuckles, chitlins, and sauerkraut with plenty of vinegar? Then eat a mess of catfish, some bananas and ice cream and mince pie. Eat lots of each thing and see what happens. Reckon I'll have one of them gal dreams, said Bull. You ought to have some kind, Slim says. All kinds of twists his blacksmith apron and grins. You mind if I dream about your old gal, Slim? I mean Birdie, now? Slim looked funny. Bertie was Doc Nugent's daughter, and the prettiest bouncing blue-eyed gal in town. But he says, "Why, now, you go ahead and dream about whoever you want to." "I sure thank you," said Bull. "I sure do now." So Bull went and eat slathers of all that stuff and went home and slept like a log. He didn't dream a thing. Next day he told the boys, "I just ain't any use. Tain't in me to have one of them things. Oh, me." Slim Loggins got all the boys together at Sneed's drugstore one night. He says, "I think it's high time to do something about Bull Runnels." "What can anybody do about Bull Runnels?" they said. "Hold quiet and I'll tell you. I'll get Bertie to slip out one of Doc's prescription blanks. I'll write some scratchy looking stuff all over it. Tell Bull it's for medicine. Then we'll make him dream sure. When Bull brings it over, Doc Sneed here will give him a bottle of baby soother. You game, Doc?" Doc Sneed says, "Reckon so. Sure. No harm, I reckon." "All right. Well, Bull will go home and drink the whole bottle and lay down to dream. That baby soother will work on him. When he's helpless, we'll just slip in his window, all dressed in sheets, and tie him up, heist him out the window, and carry him over into the woods. Then we'll really fix him up, boys. Nothing that really damage him, of course. Nope, just a regular little initiation like we give at the lodge. He'll be so dope headed with that soothing syrup, he won't hardly know what's happening. We'll lay into him a fare you well and take him home. In the morning he'll be sore behind and scared in his head. I'm willing to bet good money he won't want to dream no more dreams. And what's more, he'll quit this everlasting talk about it. How's it strike everybody?" They all said the idea was a ripper. So they set about laughing and planning out just what they aimed to do to Bull Runnels to cure him from craving a dream. "One thing, though," said Slim, "don't nobody ever let on to Bull about what's really happened. He gets tempered up easy, and when that happens he'll crack bones like kindling wood. That man that gives us away will have the rest of us to whip as well as Bull." In a day or two Slim Loggins and some of the boys went down to the blacksmith shop. They told Bull Runnels about this sure-fire dream medicine Doc Nugent was putting out. "If you want to try it," says Slim, pulling out the blank he'd head scratched all over, "here's a prescription. Doc Sneed can fill it for you." Bull dropped his hammer to the ground and reached for that piece of paper. He held it up and admired it like he was seeing visions already. "Slim," he says, "do you reckon it'll really work now? Reckon if I take it, I'll have one of them dreams, sure enough?" "Why," Slim tells him, "can't be no doubt about it. You think a fine man like Doc Nugent would go passing out medicine that don't work?" Bull scratched his ear and says, "No, that wasn't likely because Doc was a mighty fine man." Then he grinned and looked sly. "Doc sure has got one more pretty gal. Bertie's a real baby doll now." Slim didn't like that. He looked cross and says, "You'll have a real hunk of dreaming, Bull. I guarantee that." When it was good dark, Slim and the boys got together and waited around till by the judgment the baby soother had got in its licks. Everybody well knowed that Bull Runnels bedded early. About a little after 8, Slim says, "Well, let's go. Bull's pounding it hard by now." With him leading, the boys stole round behind Ben Canada's house, all trying to keep from busting out with the hee-haws. Life is a funny place sometimes. Most anybody who drunk the whole bottle of baby soother would have been dead to the world. But somehow it didn't operate to amount to much on Bull Runnels. No, he was just laying on his back in bed, feeling a little drowsy, far away. "Maybe," says he, This is the way you feel when you're fixing to dream. Maybe I'm just before fetching out one of them things now. He rolled over, facing to the window, then he blinked his eyes. Here she starts, sure enough, he thinks. Coming through the window, he sees some white floppy things. Must be a dream, he thinks, 'cause I've been living all my life and ain't never laid eye on nothing like that. Well, now I'm a dreaming. I might as well start in. So he hopped out of bed in his nightshirt and grabbed hold of the white things and chunked them out the window. Go away, he. I ain't studying to dream about old white nothings like you. I'm in dreams and gal and money dreams I'm after. Sheets with two pairs of legs each were flying every which way when Bull Runnels clumb out his window in his nightshirt. I reckon, says he, watching them go in the dimishness, that them is what you call nightmares. By the time Bull got out in front of the house, not a sheep could he see. Pretty scared, they scattered to their own homes. Slim Loggins was mad enough to destroy creation, but he knowed better than to face Bull Runnels. He throwed his sheet away and stomped over to sit a while with Bertie. Bull Runnels didn't know what to do next. He stood in the middle of the road, scratching his ear and wool gathering. Dad, fetch it now, he says. Ain't hardly reasonable for me to have them three kinds of dreams at once. Couldn't get much real satisfaction out of trying to eat and bust a pretty gal and pick up money at the same time. It would be a mess if you ask me. All right, then, we'll see now. He picked up a flat rock and spit on it. He called that side heads and that dry side tails and flipped it to see which way to take his dreams. Eats first, says he, then money, then the pretty gal dream. Straight away he loped down to the square in his bare legs with the nightshirt switching around his big hairy legs. He made for Tom's Dandy Eats, the best place in town to get a meal. It was late. There wasn't a soul in Tom's Dandy Eats except Tom himself. Tom lets out a howl when Bull comes in. Bull Runnels, he said, what the devil ails you? Bull looked him in the eye and pointed his finger. Don't give me no trouble, Mr. Tom, he says, or I'll churn your head. I'm having a dream of eating, and the mouth juice is about to choke me now. So hump yourself, Mr. Tom, whatever you got that's hot. Don't matter, just so's there's a plenty of it. Who's going to pay? I ask you, Bull Runnels. Why, don't act so crazy, Mr. Tom, said Bull. This is a dream. Everything's free in a dream. Make haste now. There's piles of silver dollars and pretty little gal waiting to be dreamt. Here's the way it was. Tom had heard some talk when the boys were eating with him, so he figured it out in a wink and vowed to himself that he'd make them pay for whatever Bull put away. So he just loaded the table down. Bull slapped his stomach, grabbed a knife, and started shoveling. Eat 2 pounds of steak, half a ham butt, eat 4 helpings of fried potatoes, plate of brains and eggs, some cabbage, turnip greens, some batter cakes, and sorghum lasses, and butter, and soda biscuits, corn pone, lamb fries, and washed it all down with sweet milk and coffee. In about an hour he pushed back his chair and wiped his mouth on his nightshirt tail. Ah, Lordy, says he, I sure dreamt a good un. Next Bull tried to get into the bank, but couldn't. Doggone, he says. They didn't tell me they had locks in dreams, but they sure got them on the bank. So then he cut over to Doc Sneed's drugstore and walked in. When Doc viewed him, he got scared. Thought Bull was coming after him for being in on the joke. He backed up against the wall and pled, Don't do it, Bull. I didn't mean nothing by it. Swear to God I didn't, Bull. Bull just gulped at him. Doc, he says, you sure act funny in a dream. I wish you'd quit shaking and come over here and show me how to open the cash register. I push these little stick out things. Oh, you ain't gonna raid the till, Bull. Why, no, said Bull, filling a sack with change and bills. I'm just having my money dream now. It was fair killing Doc Sneed to watch it. Must have been about how $14 or $15 in the till, but he knew better than to tell Bull it was a joke. If he believed it, Bull might have wrecked the place pretty near. Doc was madder than Tucker that day his dog died, but he couldn't do a thing about it. Thank ye kindly, Doc, said Bull. Much obliged for the Monday dream. And then he went back to Ben Canada's and climbed in the back window and stashed the sack of change and bills. Now, says he, for the pretty gal dream. Woo-wee! He poured half a bottle of sweet hair oil over his bushy head, climbed out the window, and started for Bertie Nugent's house. He was in a big way feeling mighty bobbish, and he walked like a man stepping over cornstalks, with a head in the air and his nightshirt waving around his legs. So it happened that old Doc Nugent was away from home on a night call, and his old lady had gone to bed. Slim Loggins and Bertie was sweethearting on the sofa in the parlor. Bull come up on the piazza in his quiet bare feet. He stood there peeking in, grinning and clucking. Ah, lordy, he says, that Bertie, pretty as a spotted pup. First thing Slim or Bertie knowed, Bull had hauled off and came bulging in the front door. Ah, there, Miss Bertie, says he. Bertie screeched and Slim near swallowed his neck bean. Slim jumped behind the sofa in a sweat panic. Bertie stood up, pale as death, and her knees about to jackknife under her. Here I am, little horsefly, says Bull, and he picks Bertie up like a baby and sets on the sofa with her on his knee. But Bertie didn't know about it. She gave a little cheep, and then she near fainted away. Bust me, horsefly, said Bull, and gave her a big old smack right square on the mouth. Woo-wee, says he. You're good enough to eat now. Started patting her head with his big hand like you'd pat a flank of a horse. He didn't notice a thing, neither that Bert had swooned out or that Slim Loggins was crawling on his belly over to the wall towards the grate. Didn't see Slim get the poker. Little birdie gal, said Bull, a man couldn't want no better dream than you. Bust me again, little pistol. So Bull didn't see Slim behind the sofa, grin his jaws like he could chew the edge of a cold chisel. He didn't see that the poker in both Slim's hands and blood in Slim's eyes. Didn't see it coming down like a jag of blue lightning. The poker landed so hard it just jarred the house. Bull Runnels started leaning over sort of slow. Slim caught up Bertie, and Bull slid out on the floor, dead to the world. After rolling Bull out on the piazza, Slim brought Bertie to. He got some of the boys, and they toted Bull home and dumped him in bed. Next morning, Slim and the boys drifted down to the blacksmith shop. Doc Sneed come along too. They were all kind of worried, scared Slim might had maybe damaged Bull's head with that poker. But no, Lord! There was Bull hard at it, bending horseshoes and making the old anvil ring like a steeple full of big iron bells. Bull let out a bellow when he noticed the boys edging through the door. Boys, says he, it done the trick. That medicine give me sure enough real hunk of dreaming now. I had a gal dream, the sweetest ever. Bull smacked his lips, rolling his eyes. Yep, says Bull. Made me $15.77 in my money dream. I won't never forget the evening dream. I'm satisfied now. Though, don't want to dream no more ever now. It gives you too big a headache when you wake up. So everybody just looked at him. Doc Sneed was out his money. Slim had had his best girl bust, and a lot of them had to chip in and pay the big feed bill at Tom's Dandy Eats. So Slim Loggins cocked his head at the roof and stuck his hands in his pockets. Boys, says he, I ain't so sure about who ought to be bold for the simples now. And that is the story. If you like this story, and like to hear more of this, please like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments. You like this book? You can find this book, hopefully, God Bless the Devil, series of Tennessee Tall Tales.